Welcome to this explainer. Okay, picture this. It's 2023, and a spacecraft achieves something literally no other nation had ever done before. It softly touches down on the moon's rugged, uncharted South Pole. It was an absolutely massive leap for humanity, right? A historic triumph for the country that pulled it off. But here's the crazy part. What shocked the global aerospace community wasn't just the successful landing itself. It was the price tag. Because the spacecraft's home country wasn't the richest nation on Earth, and it definitely didn't have the biggest space budget. It was India. And as we're gonna see, the way they pulled off this monumental feat is completely rewriting the rules of what a space program is actually supposed to cost. Okay, let's dive into this, because the numbers here present a truly staggering paradox. I want you to think about that incredible 2014 Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster, Interstellar. Just to simulate space travel, build the sets, render the CGI, and, pay Matthew McConaughey's salary, that film cost around $165 million to produce. Now, flash forward to 2023. India's space agency, ISRO, executed the Chandrayaan-3 lunar mission. We're talking about building an actual rocket, a real lunar lander, a rover, and then successfully flying all of that hardware to the surface of the moon. The total cost for the whole shebang? Roughly $75 million. That means a Hollywood movie about space costs more than double what it took to actually land real hardware on the moon. Which brings us to the core mystery of our explainer today. How on Earth, or how on the moon, do you land a spacecraft for less than the budget of a summer popcorn flick? India has an annual national space budget of under $2 billion. Yet, they're out here successfully executing deep space missions that rival the accomplishments of agencies with vastly deeper pockets. So, how is ISRO completely redefining the economics of space exploration? And what does this all mean for the future of the new space race? Section 1, the breakdown comparing the price tags. So before we look at exactly how India does it, we really need to establish the sheer scale of this financial gap. When you break down the specific costs side by side, the contrast is almost hard to wrap your head around. As we just established, India's entire Chandrayaan-3 mission cost approximately $75 million. Now let's look at NASA's current lunar initiative, the Artemis program. According to the Space Agency's own Inspector General, the Artemis program is on track to cost around $93 billion just through the year 2025. We are quite literally looking at a $75 million pile of cash sitting right next to a $93 billion skyscraper. To put that into perspective for us, NASA's Artemis program isn't just twice as expensive as India's lunar landing mission. It's not 10 times as expensive or even 100 times. NASA's program costs well over 1,000 times more. It is in a completely different stratosphere of spending. And even when we zoom out, right, when we judge these organizations as complete national space programs, the gap is still absolutely massive. Back in 2022, India's entire annual space budget ranked 7th globally, sitting at just $1.93 billion. NASA's annual base budget alone is roughly $24 billion. That means even before any specific Artemis project overruns are factored into the equation, NASA operates with a budget more than 10 times larger than ISRO's. Section 2. ISRO's blueprint, space on a shoestring. So how exactly do you do space on a shoestring? Well, ISRO has this brilliantly frugal approach to problem solving, and it really relies on 3 main pillars. First, they lean heavily on smaller, simpler, and often reusable spacecraft designs. For Chandrayaan-3, they didn't go out and design some brand new mega rocket from scratch. No, they used a launch vehicle they had already built and tested for other missions. Second, they keep the spacecraft size incredibly efficient and compact. And third, labor costs. India boasts this massive workforce of highly trained aerospace engineers who are paid a fraction of what their American counterparts earn. This allows ISRO to run these large, incredibly skilled technical teams for a significantly smaller total payroll. But it's not just about saving money. It's about sheer persistence and iterative design. India actually didn't succeed on their first try at the South Pole. Back in 2019, their Chandrayaan-2 mission suffered a software glitch during descent and crashed. But instead of scrapping the whole program and starting from scratch, which, let's face it, would have cost billions, ISRO simply rebuilt it. They spent 4 years fixing that guidance system, refining the software, and applying the lessons they learned. And that highly efficient iterative redesign is exactly what led to the historic 2023 soft landing. Section 3. The Artemis Imperative, why NASA spends billions. So, the crucial point is, we do need to be fair to NASA here, because comparing ISRO and NASA isn't exactly apples to apples, and understanding why really illustrates the difference in scope. Chandrayaan-3 was an uncrewed robotic mission. It was essentially a compact lander and a small rover designed to survive on the lunar surface for about 14 days.
NASA, on the other hand, is building deep space human infrastructure. They are trying to send human beings back to the moon for the first time since 1972. And protecting human life, that requires heavy radiation shielding, immensely complex life support systems, and a massive crew capsule. You simply cannot cut corners when human lives are at stake in the freezing vacuum of deep space.
And because of that, the logistical hurdles for Artemis are just monumental. NASA had to build the Space Launch System, the SLS, an entirely new heavy-lift mega-rocket just to push incredible amounts of mass out of Earth's gravity. Then they had to develop and test the Orion crew capsule to keep those astronauts alive. On top of that, they're contracting vastly complex, multi-story commercial lunar landers from private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. This is a sprawling, multi-tiered infrastructure project. It is not just a single robotic landing. But, that immense financial investment has yielded some truly spectacular results. Take the April 2026 launch of the Artemis 2 mission. That colossal SLS rocket successfully lifted off, sending 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, on a critical 10-day test journey around the moon and back. This was the first crewed lunar mission in over 50 years. It proved that this super expensive infrastructure actually works, perfectly setting the stage for an actual crewed surface landing. Section 4, the next lunar era, India's ambitious roadmap. Let's move to and see how this builds, because while NASA paves the way for deep space infrastructure, India is certainly not standing still. ISRO is rapidly accelerating its own timeline. By 2026, they've got their sights set on Gaganyaan, their very first crewed spaceflight, which would make India only the 4th nation ever to independently send humans into orbit. Following that, in 2028, they've approved Chandrayaan-3, an incredibly complex lunar sample return mission, and their ultimate long-term ambition to land Indian astronauts on the moon by 2040, complete with plans to build their very own space station before they even get there. And all of these missions, they feed into a much larger economic game plan. Right now, India holds about a 2% share of the global space economy. But by utilizing their low-cost, high-efficiency engineering model, ISRO has laid out a highly aggressive target. They want to capture 10% of the global space economy within the decade. They are leveraging their frugal engineering not just for national pride, but as a major commercial and economic engine for the country. Section 5, redefining the space race. When we step back and look at these two space agencies, we're really seeing two entirely different philosophies tackling the exact same cosmic frontier. NASA is spending whatever it takes to build a sustainable, safe, and permanent human infrastructure in deep space, a mission whose complexity just inherently demands a massive budget. India, conversely, is proving that a nation with a fraction of that budget can achieve truly historic milestones if it's willing to build smaller, iterate faster, and bounce back intelligently from failure. Neither approach is wrong, but what we should really take away from this explainer is a new truth. Getting to the moon isn't just about how much a country can spend anymore, it's about how well it can spend it. The harsh environment of space is a great equalizer. As the old aerospace saying goes, the moon doesn't care about your budget. Both the multi-billion-dollar American infrastructure and the highly efficient Indian engineering model have proven they can successfully reach lunar orbit. But as these two nations race back toward the lunar surface over the next 2 decades, we have to ask, which economic model will ultimately define the future of human space exploration? Will it be the massive, heavily funded infrastructure approach, or the lean, iterative, cost-effective model? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep wondering.